Today I want to begin a brief study of the equally brief Epistle of James. It is the epistle reading in the daily lectionary beginning today and running through next week. If you happen to follow the daily lectionary, though, you'll find that the portion I'm reading today is actually the portion assigned for tomorrow. That's because tomorrow is Veterans Day, and I want to do a devotional on that. So let's get started, shall we? Hello. I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Thursday, November 10th, 2022. Anyone who has ever studied the Epistle of James has surely read Martin Luther's famous comment in which he denigrated this letter as an epistle of straw, or as some translate it, a right strawy epistle. Luther's attitude toward the epistle stemmed from his deep conviction that salvation is by grace through faith, rendering works righteousness null and void. Whereas James famously says, "What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if you say you have faith but do not have works? Can faith save you? Show me your faith apart from your works, and I by my works will show you my faith." Luther calls it an epistle of straw because he believed it lacked real solid nourishment for Christians. But Luther's judgment on the letter is certainly not the final word. There is a lot to commend this letter. It is well worth your time and mine to dig in and study, which leads me to our passage for today. James says, "You must understand this, my beloved. Let everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger, for your anger does not produce God's righteousness. Therefore rid yourselves of all sordidness and rank growth of wickedness, and welcome with meekness the implanted word that has the power to save your souls. Be doers of the word, and not merely hearers who deceive themselves. For if any are hearers of the word and not doers, they are like those who look at themselves in a mirror. For they look at themselves and, on going away, immediately forget what they were like. But those who look into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and persevere, being not hearers who forget, but doers who act, they will be blessed in their doing. If any think they are religious, and do not bridle their tongues, but deceive their hearts, their religion is worthless. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to care for orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself unstained by the world." To my way of thinking, there is plenty of nourishment for Christian faith and life here, and James's comments are as fresh today as they were the day they were written. The issue here is active listening. James uses two distinct words, one translated as listening and the other as hearing. And although both words relate to the physical act of hearing, he means very different things by them. Be quick to listen, he says, by which he means listening actively to one another. It is a form of listening that leads to understanding. On the other hand, he says, be doers of the word and not merely hearers who deceive themselves. This kind of hearing is passive listening. Think of it as sitting in an auditorium and simply taking in what someone else is saying without really engaging in active listening. In this case, it is possible to hear what a speaker says, then walk out and not be able to tell someone else what was said. It's more like listening as entertainment than listening for deep understanding. The implication is clear. Those who simply hear the word but don't do anything about it, who do not become doers of the word, are little more than consumers of entertainment in the form of religion. But those who really listen are transformed. And the most important transformation becomes the ability to really listen to one another. And the payoff of deep listening becomes a way of life characterized not by anger and arguing, but by peace and calm and Christian fellowship. Maybe a sort of illustration will help. Have you ever been in a situation where you've witnessed two people arguing with each other, knowing that they're not really listening to each other? Instead of talking to each other, they talk past each other. Instead of really listening to understand, they're only trying to hear something that the other says that they can then disagree with. Instead of listening, they're always planning what they want to say next. That's not hearing. That's not really listening. And that is certainly no way to build Christian fellowship. And it is no way to engender reconciliation. Seems to me that's solid food for Christian disciples. Tomorrow we'll remember Veterans Day. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.